What's up, guys? Welcome back to Free Will. This is Tony Scardino, and last week we touched on monogamy. I got asked a question about monogamy. This week we're gonna have an interesting topic. It's going to be dating in the digital age with online and the media, and it's gonna lead into some other topics. The reason why I decided to do this topic, I felt like it was a good after video of last week's topic. It leads from one to another. And I got a question from my own girlfriend about dating in the digital age. She asked me a question that had to do with, my light's turned off. What do I do? I'll just keep it like that. But I wanted to begin this topic with saying, when I decided I was going to do this topic, I was going to go all statistics on you guys and be like, oh, there's the percent of divorce rates compared to when Instagram was founded, and, the number of men and female that lack, all these like statistical things and, ways in the physical to answer this question and this topic. But I wanted to start with saying that we're going to go a different route, because free will is all about the separation of the physical and the spiritual. And we're trying to get in tune with our spiritual selves, with our souls. And a lot of the things that we talk about in our real world are physical things, because we're living in the third dimension, 3D, which is past, present, future, length, height, width. So we are living in the physical, but we are going to reach the spiritual today within this topic. And by doing that in the first place is, when we talk about the spiritual, when we talk about our souls, I always talk about how we're energy, and I talk about how our energy is connected. I say our energy is connected because we all come from one source. That is the source of energy, and energy cannot be distorted. It can only be transferred. So that means we've all existed together since the beginning of time. We are all connected in some way. Social media and the digital age is a heightened connection in between all of our energy. So, think about it. When we started advancing in our technology and we have social media and we connect and we can talk to people from all around the world, or we can reach our relatives from around the world, or talk to each other on a daily basis all the time. That shows connection more than we've ever experienced before, humanity. And because we are connected more than ever, we are going to see so many positives out of that. But because energy is a battery and we need the full charges, the positive, the negative, the neutral, law of three, it's going to come with an equal amount of negatives. So the amount of positives we're getting by being so fully connected, we're going to see all of these negatives that we're seeing in this day and age, because that's just what comes with it. But it's important for us to recognize this, to be aware, and to recognize that neutral energy, the one that balances between, the one that reminds the positive why the negative is there, and reminds the negative why the positive is there. And social media, we are going to obtain an insane amount of abundance because of the amount we sacrifice. So we talk about temptation, social media. You can look here, you can look there, you can talk to this person, you can do this, you can do that behind someone's back, you can do this. The amount of sacrifices and effort you put into your trueness, your true self, is the amount of abundance you will get returned. So just like we talk about when you work on something, when you work on yourself and you learn a lesson, when you're doing this within social media, you're going to, on the other side, have learned those lessons to be closer to your highest self. And how is this going to benefit you? It's going to benefit you because we get stuck in all of these negative thoughts. We get stuck in the physicality of the world, and social media is a physical world. It is all about the physical temptations, the money, the women, the beauty, the flexes, the status. It is so physical. It is heightened in such a way in the physical world that the abundance that we get by sacrificing within that and defeating that is going to be just as equal. So we are going to come out stronger than ever. More love, more trust, and more commitment. The question that came up with this topic on why I said, okay, this is a topic, is my girlfriend, one of my best friends, she texted me a question the other week and she said, I'll just read it. She said, what's your opinion on your man following girls on IG, Instagram, if they don't know them and you know they got booty pics or whatnot, not just like regular girls? So she's asking me the question, how do I feel about my man following all these girls, these Instagram influencers, these Instagram baddies that are posting themselves? They don't even know them, but they're following them, right? And my answer was very simple. It was, well, what's the purpose? Why is he following them? And that's a question the man should ask himself, is why are you following them? If you're in a committed relationship, if you only see this one person in a sacral sexual way, what are you doing following girls that are, why are you following them? Clearly you're attracted to what you see, right? You're getting something, you're getting something on, you're getting turned on. So is that allowed? Is that cheating? And yeah, I would say so. I would say if you ask yourself, what is the purpose of why I'm following this person? What am I getting out of it? What are the benefits? And how is it disrespectful? You come to that conclusion. Now, this goes with the opposite way too. It's not just men, following women and stuff like this. The most stereotypical comparison is women posting that themselves. Is how should a man feel about his girl posting those type of, baddie pics on Instagram? Same question. What is the purpose? Why are you posting like that? Probably to gain attraction, to gain attention, to get validated. The female has to ask herself, well, why am I doing this? If I have a man where he should only see me in a sacral sexual way, and why am I seeking validation from others? It's that balance of validation that both genders are seeking of, wanting to give attention to a woman and a woman wanting to give attention. If you're in a committed relationship, if you're in a monogamous relationship, you have to ask yourself, well, how does that balance in the respect if we're supposed to work together in validating each other? Is our commitment not enough that we have to seek it elsewhere? I saw Elizabeth Carson, a spiritual influential speaker. She said this quote, and she said, get rid of the trauma and there will be no drama. So this is where it all stems from. Social media is a great way to show us what our traumas are. It's actually quite beautiful. It is requiring you to face yourself because you are living in the physical. And what are your traumas? Why are you seeking this or seeking that? Once you get rid of the trauma, once you heal yourself, once you recognize, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I seeking validation here? You get rid of the drama. Once you heal yourself, once you learn the lesson, you're living in a state of heaven, right? Does social media have to ruin a relationship? It depends what you do with it, right? It depends how you use it. Social media isn't some type of negative demon that's like, oh, I'm going to ruin all these relationships and I'm going to feed poison to all these people. And people always say, oh, social media, it sucks. It's so toxic. Well, what are you doing with it? How are you engaging with it for you to make it believe that it's toxic? Because we talked about it. Being able to connect with anybody in the world is the most beautiful thing. You have grandma out in Europe, you can talk to her, you get to see how your friends are growing up and living their lives and getting married and having kids. Like these are beautiful things that you get to be involved in people's lives and have people involved with your life. But what are we doing to make it toxic and how can we heal from that? So does social media have to ruin relationships? No, it does not. It depends on the individual's actions. We have to question, what are those actions? And this is where we bring up the law of attraction. We've talked about it a few episodes ago. We keep bringing it up now. Law of attraction. What you give out is what you will receive. With everything we do, there is a reaction. So how I carry myself and what I do, I will attract that. The universe will give it back to me. Our energy will attract that and it'll give it back, right? So social media is actually a really, really big test. We talk about, what's the purpose of life? I think it's to learn lessons and experiences to grow to a higher self. So we have a lot of tests. The physical world is the giant test of all, is the world where we forget everything we are before because we must walk to know our truest self is to walk in the dark path, right? And to find ourselves again. And we get tests, we get lessons to escape to the next level, to go to the next step. We have to learn a lesson so we don't get stuck in the wheel of karma to progress. So, social media is the biggest test because it has a lot of temptations. It is the world of the physical. To become aware of these temptations, to then work on them. How great of a society can we really be if now we have all of this toxic culture? Now let's take that. Let's learn those lessons. How much of a strengthening society can we be if we can overcome as individuals and as couples, overcome the massive physical temptations that social media gives us? We will attract a lot of abundance when we start doing that work, when we start doing that healing. Plus, it'll be easier to find the right person for you. So if you're always dealing, like, let's go back to my friend's question, about, what's your opinion on your man, following all these girls? Well, now you can ask yourself, is that the man you want to be with? How easy is it now to pick and choose which individuals are working on themselves, working on things, and trusting and respecting and being honest in your relationship? Is it hard to find? Yeah, probably. Because you know what? We all have traumas and we all have lessons we need to work on. So we're definitely all stuck in this little social media bubble of like, oh, how do we get out of this? But it is possible, and it will make it easier for you to find individuals that you want to be with and not interact with individuals that are clearly showing you every red flag. So in social media, in this world, we have the false reality versus reality, where, you're living in this world of like, oh, if I attract all these women, if I comment on all these women, if I follow, I have a chance with all of them. Or the opposite of, oh, if all of these guys are commenting on my photos, I can be with them. It gives you this false reality of that you can be with everyone, you can get validated by everyone. But where's the value? We'll get into that, because within this world, in this false reality versus reality, this you can get on the internet and say and be whatever you want versus the actual reality that you're living in, what's actually going on, what actually you can attract, what lessons you're actually working on. We are having this competition of validation. So I've brought this up before. Mostly, I'm going to put just in the general consensus, mostly with men, we're having an intimacy problem. If men are they're seeking to give attention to different women, they're having an intimacy problem. And what they're doing by going online or by messaging this girl or by, constantly finding these ways, it's a temporary solution. It's a temporary solution to this trauma, to this problem. With women, we're seeing a lot of self-esteem problems. Let me post myself in this way with filters or edits and this and that, and let me show off my best self. Because you're seeking for validation, right? It's the competition for men and women for validation. Again, by her going online and doing this is a temporary solution. So with the intimacy problem and with the self-esteem problem, because, right, women seek validation from men, men are seeking to give validation, we are having temporary solutions in this physical world. And it is in the category of the false reality, not the reality. Reality is the permanent solutions. Our generation is stuck with these temporary solutions. What is the permanent solution to these behaviors? Because right now we have a generation that are seeking such big highs because, again, we've talked about the heightened aspects of social media. So when a girl posts a picture and she's getting thousands of likes and comments and this from men, or when a guy is following thousands of girls and commenting on thousands of, girls' photos, we're seeking big highs. But back to that battery, back to that charge. The bigger the highs, the bigger the lows. What is the value of social media? We categorize it as beautiful women and rich men. This equals status. Status is social media, but the value of social media is connection. But for some reason, the value of status is no longer connection. So we have the status that social media charges. The value of social media is connection, but connection is not connected to status anymore. Status are these physical categories of beauty and wealth and whatever else you got going on that you're showing off. And the two things that I've personally learned in a relationship, the two unattractive things, are desperation and control. So people don't like desperation. When someone's constantly like, oh, please love me, please love me, please love me, please love me. Like usually when, this happens a lot with women, honestly. Women, they act desperate because they're seeking validation from the man. They're not getting it in return, right? Because desperation is usually unattractive. It's the confidence that's attractive. Same with control. When you're constantly trying to control your partner and do this and you have to do that, or I'm controlling you here and you can't go there. No one likes that either. Everyone likes their free will. We're human beings. We want to be able to choose everything we do in life. And when you have this, sense of control, what is in our heads when we're doing this in a relationship? It's paranoia. And what do we talk about? The law of attraction. What you put in this reality is what's going to become your reality. If you're paranoid about these things happening, you're putting it in your reality. I used this word just a second ago. The confidence is be what you want to attract. So when you're walking in this world and you're not paranoid, you're not scared, you're not living in fear of someone hurting you or what they're going to do or controlling them or acting desperate. If you're acting your truest self, if you're being who you want to attract, that is who you will attract. And that goes back to what I was talking about on the healing of the traumas. Heal the trauma to get rid of the trauma. And if we're living in this state of paranoia, oh, my man's following all these girls, or, oh, my woman's texting this, or who knows what they're going to do, or, oh, I got to look at their, phone, or do this or do that. The universe has your back. So of course, there's going to be times where you find out things and you're going to come across things. Honestly, social media, the digital age, online, texting, the internet, technology, it's given us a lot of opportunities to be on point with, what's going on in our reality. Is someone doing you wrong? You have an opportunity to see that, but also you have an opportunity to walk with your highest confidence. Know that the universe has your back, and we know this because you have your back. You will always act in your best self-interest. This is your reality, right? So the universe, which you're connected, will always have your back if you always have your back. We talked about this. It's your plan, your reality, your creation. If we are manifestors, we are energy, we are creators. This is your creation. And if you're having this fear of the future, what's going to go on in the future? Oh, is my partner going to cheat on me? Or is it something they're going to do? Or they're acting this way, like that? It's the same thing as living in the past. So we talked about this. Living in the past. Everyone always says it. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the past, because you get stuck on this wheel of karma. If you're constantly in the past, making that your present, you have the choice today to make this your present, to put your past there. If you keep living in the past, your past will always become your present, and then you can never get to the future. But it's the same thing. If you're living in the future, you are determining what your lessons are going to be in the future, and that's, you're constantly putting your present in the future. You are the creator and the manifester by living in the present. It is most important on what you do in the present, in the now, because again, like I said, if you're in the past, you're making that your present, and if you're in the future, you're making the future your present. But what you can change is the now, is the present. That's why they say most important thing is live in the present, man, right? You have to be what you expect, because then you're creating your future. If you're doing it vice versa, it's never going to work. You have to be right now what you expect in the future. Then your future will continue like a path. You are a mirror. Picture the present as a mirror, and everyone is a reflection. So what you do now, the universe, the people around you, the situation around you will reflect on that. That makes sense. If you have the choice to change the now to be in the present, everything you do will reflect on that, whether it's good or bad. So this is the truest form of living life as your fullest self. When you're constantly true to yourself, you're living in the present, you are not focused on the past or the paranoia. You are doing what you want to do. You are doing what you want to attract. This is the truest form of yourself. This is the truest form of how you can create your reality. And that's beautiful. And we can all do that 100%. And if we're living to our truest selves, if we're living with our hearts, we will always gain that abundance that we're searching for. And bringing back first topic of social media is the biggest test on how we live our truest self, right? How we live our truest selves of the false reality to the reality. How do we learn the lessons here to then get here, to live in our truest form? People probably expect, all these wrong things of dating in the digital age, and this is what's going on. We have high amounts of depression and high amounts of this and insecurities and here. But as I've always said it, there's no such thing as evil. The negative energy is necessary for the positive. So when I see how much negative there is, I see how much more positive there is. Attach a positive value, a positive outcome to the negative to make everything negative then positive. And we have the ability to do that as the creators of our lives. Now, I wanted to bring in just a small topic of dating apps, because we're talking about dating in the digital age. I've came to the conclusion that if it excites you, if it finds you, if you have the feeling of doing so, of using those apps, of wanting to find someone or some type of thing on these apps, then do it. That's in your path. That's in your plan. Everyone's paths are different. So dating apps aren't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. We could say, having all these swipes and this and that, but also it's a good thing. I mean, my sister is with her husband and going on her second child with him from a dating app. I know many people that have met on a dating app and have been in this committed relationship since. And I've heard of a lot of bad experiences on dating apps. Again, it's being what you want to attract. So if you're acting a certain way on this app, probably going to attract it. If you're acting that way on an app, you're probably going to attract that. How you use the social media. What are your actions with this test? If it finds you and excites you, go for it. If not, personally, I don't ever use it, but it is a tool in the physical world for us to be connected more than ever once again, which is a great thing. Now, the last thing I wanted to bring up, because we had this concept of, social media, are we paranoid, are we seeking validation, competition of validation, and of course, the topic of cheating gets brought up. We're worried about it. We're worried about our partner not being respectful on the internet and having all this technology. Do we monitor it? Why do people cheat? And all of these things. I just wanted to share a quick video because I saw this and I thought it was a really unique way and perfect way to explain this concept. Why people cheat. How do we handle it? How do we view it? How can we overcome it?
She fucking cheated on me? Ooh, guess you weren't a twin flame, huh? More like a street flame? Fuck. Why would she do something like this? What did he have that I didn't? Alright, stop right there, son. This situation has absolutely nothing to do with you. What do you mean? Maybe if I was there for her more, no! Don't fall into the illusion of thinking this is your fault in any way. You want to know the real, deeper reason why people cheat? Well, why? It's all to do with the divine masculine and feminine energies that play within all of us. Those that cheat are embodiments of the wounded version of the divine masculine or the divine feminine. Wait, what do you mean by wounded? Everywhere you look, there are embodiments of the assertive masculine energy and the creative feminine energy to create life. In humanity, this manifests as a sacred partnership between a masculine man and a feminine woman, for the most part. But there are two sides of this divine energy in humanity. There's the wounded and the sacred. We all fall somewhere on this spectrum. Now that girl that cheated on you is clearly in her wounded feminine. Something happened in her life that damaged her sacred feminine, and now she's probably extremely insecure, codependent, inauthentic, You may find her playing victim a lot. Whoa, how did you... Yeah. Well, this inner insecurity from her childhood has manifested into her thinking that the grass is greener elsewhere instead of being greener where you water it. Dad, that makes so much sense. But never forget the golden rule, son. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So you're saying I'm in my wounded masculine? How so? Hey, I'm not saying anything, son. That's on you to figure out. But how do I find out? I'll give you a hint. You watch corn? Well, I don't answer. Just know that corn was invented to keep you stuck in your sacral chakra, to keep you stuck in your immature, wounded masculine. Whoa, really? You see, son, your sexual energy is what you use to create your reality. When you constantly spill it, it will turn you into an ungrounded, inconsistent, scared little boy with no desire to truly understand your divine feminine counterpart. So what, just stop watching corn and I'll never get cheated on again? No, son, but develop your sacred masculine through taking care of your body and mind. And that low vibe behavior like cheating starts to become very unlikely because you're automatically starting to attract things of your same vibration. Just do me a favor, son, and take it easy on the girl that cheated though, okay? Hold on, but why? She hurt me. It's like I said, she's damaged, son. Hurt people tend to really hurt people. And until she begins to look inward, she'll continue to dishonor herself by running around on these streets, desperately trying to fill that deep hole in her heart. So, from that perspective, show sympathy, not rage. It's what a divine masculine does. Wow, what an eye-opener. Thanks, Dad. Or she could just be a hoe. Shit. Society be brainwashing women too, so there's always that possibility. Thanks, Dad. Don't thank me, son. Thank Jay Kaizen.
So, long video, but he nailed it on the dot in a lot of ways of the law of attraction. What you attract is what you will receive. Why people do things, because they're in there wounded, right? We have this divine energy, and a lot of us are wounded. And it's up to us to learn those lessons to be in the sacred, right? In connection to social media, a lot of us are projecting these false realities in this physical world, and we're seeking for these temporary solutions to our wounds, to our traumas. But there are permanent solutions, and that is healing them. And that is working towards your highest self. And, I think we've all been on both sides of the spectrum of whether we hurt people or we get hurt, but it's up to us to live in the present and to act with our truest self and to not hurt people in order so that we don't get hurt in return, right? So, gonna end it off there this week. I thought this was a cool way to stem off from last week in monogamy, because there is crap that goes down and there's things that we all need to work on, of course, as individuals, and it's not an easy test. It's a big test. And it's a big test because we have a lot of abundance coming after us, and that's a really, really awesome thing. We're all connected, and we're all going to share this energy for the rest of our lives, for lifetimes to come. And the more we learn, the more we're aware of these lessons, the closer we get to where we want to get, walking the path that we want to walk on. You can find me on all platforms at official Tony Scardino. Please like, rate, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next week, and I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the week.